Hello, and welcome to the Oregon Files podcast. First, our disclaimer. We are amateur podcasters simply for entertainment. If we misquote or offend, it was not on purpose to do so. Now, today, we are recording from the Roseburg Public Library, which our good friends let us sit in a room here and hold it up for 2 hours while we record our lovely podcast. We used to record at my house, but we had some family move back in, and they brought a cat.
It's a good way to put it.
And the cat is Henri. The cat's name is Amir. The cat joins me for every one of my conference calls at work. The cat has already destroyed 3 drapes, 2 blinds, some carpeting. We tell it not to get on the counter, but it insists on being on the counter. And the cat just loves it.
And now it's what's saving grace.
And now our friends at Saving Grace. All right. That is my co-host, Elliot Bowman.
Thank you, Mark. Sorry about your drapes. And we like to say hello to our good friends at Touche Brewery, and thank you for your sponsorship. Touche Brewery, they're located now in Reedsport. They're here in Roseburg, and they've also become the new owners of Bandon Brewery. I have yet to go check it out, but I will next time I'm in Bandon. So if you're interested in a nice cold beer or cider, or if you're not legal age of drinking, you can wet your whistle on a little soda or a root beer, or if it's a hot day, have some water. But yeah, Touche Brewery, check them out. You can give them a call at 541-236-2055.
And our other sponsor, Video Games Plus and Level Up Frozen Yogurt. They are open 7 days a week off Stevens and Roseburg. The Level Up Frozen Yogurt has new flavors every month. Some are dairy-free and over 50 toppings, including fresh fruit. Now, come and explore. They have a very impressive new game section and a collection of DVDs, Blu-rays, disc golf, magic cards, Pokemon cards, T-shirts, gift certificates. Very cool shop, very cool stuff. There's some really cool products from Japan, like little gachapon things that you can put in like a little quarter machine. But just good people there, easy place to shop.
And it's a great time of year to get some frozen yogurt.
Oh, isn't it though? Holy mackerel. And it's self-serve frozen yogurt. That's my favorite part is you get in there and you decide how much you want.
Right.
And put all the toppings on there. But be careful. You don't want to mix weird stuff. Like
That's true.
You got to go ice cream based first.
Well, and you know the good thing is, though, they have little tasters.
You have little sample cups.
You can little sample cups,
yes.
You know. So you can do a little sample cup, mix in your mouth a little bit. You can be like a sommelier of frozen yogurt.
Is there a logical human amount of like samples you should have before it gets too far? Like what's the proper?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
Right?
Like a moral, like until you start feeling bad about. I'm gonna say 4.
Wow, 4. Okay,
yeah,
4.
Because I feel like that's the majority of the frozen yogurt that's available at the Level Up. Mm-hmm. It's between like 4 and 6.
Yeah.
So I don't want to try all of them, but I can try at least the majority of them.
That's fair. That's
You're thinking like 2, 3?
See, I'm more of a 3.
You're more of a 3.
3 is a max. But here's the funny part is I give into line pressure. So if there's a long line, I'm
that's
1
true.
to 2.
That's a good point.
Right? But if you're right, if I'm the only one there, I'm going to try everything.
Right. That's a good point. If there's a long line, probably maybe try like 1 or 2.
That's funny.
Or I might just dive right in and just go for it and just hope for the best.
Would you ever get 2 different yogurts going?
That's kind of
pretend it's like somebody else's, but it's really just for you.
No.
See, yeah, that's a terrible thought, right?
No.
That's a lot of frozen yogurt.
No, I thought you were going to say, do I mix? I'm really skeptical on the mixing the flavors.
Really?
I have to make sure it's not like fruit and chocolate. I can't do that.
Yeah, fruit and chocolate don't work.
Can't do that. They do like the classic peanut butter and chocolate, vanilla and chocolate. Mm-hmm. And they had like coffee last time I was there. I think I might have done a little bit of like the cold brew and the chocolate, but
see, that works.
A little picky about the mixing of the flavors.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. I realized the first time I did it, I went gung ho with the toppings. And I don't like cold like gummy worms because they get
really hard.
Yeah, really hard.
What toppings do you like?
Here's the funny part is I usually don't do too many toppings. I'm really funny about this because I'm more interested in the flavor of the frozen yogurt. But if I go toppings, I like the cheesecake bites. I like the Kit Kat crumbles.
Yeah.
But it depends on the flavor of the yogurt too.
Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, the Reese's Pieces. Like that stuff works, right?
Right. Do you like the hot fudge and the peanut butter? Like
The peanut butter pump is ridiculous.
The peanut butter pump,
Yeah,
yeah.
come on now. That's a human invention that should not be. That's a sinful thing.
That's a sinful thing.
That's
Wait, they also have the marshmallow too, right?
So you're right. I do the peanut butter pump. I do the marshmallow pump. This sounds inappropriate, but that's exactly like
and the hot fudge pump.
That, just anyways, Love Up Frozen Yogurt, located in Roseburg.
Check them out.
Check them out.
All right.
All right, El, today,
Back by popular demand.
We need more Bigfoot stories. So we're doing a dedicated Bigfoot episode again.
Just for you, Bigfoot.
This is number 3.
Bigfoot wrote into our email.
He did.
And said, you guys need to talk about me more.
He loves
I need to get out there more. Yeah, he does.
He does. He gets really good Wi-Fi out in the forest. People are surprised, but he pays for it. So yeah, we call this episode 3, Revenge of the Sasquatch.
Revenge of the Sasquatch.
So
Bigfoot, really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's one topic. Maybe UFOs too.
Yeah.
Do you really have to find so much to back it up? Because who's really going to fact check you on a Bigfoot story?
It's here's the
deal what I mean.
You're absolutely 100%. Right.
I could just say I drove here and a Bigfoot ran across the road.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, it's not a whole lot of detail. It's kind of boring, but who's going to discredit me?
Here's the best part about it. You can make that claim. You can be downtown Roseburg, broad daylight, say you saw Bigfoot. 50% of people are going to believe it.
That's everything. And be like, I saw it too.
I saw it too.
All right. All right.
That is so funny you said that. I got really too deep into it. I'm like, okay, was there any scientific proof? Studies, right? Everyone, scientific community is like, Bigfoot doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
There's just not enough proof. There's nothing out there. They always say it's black bears. If you ask anyone in science, they're like, no, there's no such in Bigfoot. There's black bears. But the people who see black bear can't run on its hind legs down a hill. Unless it's been trained by the circus. I don't know. Maybe one's been trained by the circus. He got out. He's wreaking havoc. The sad part is with the Bigfoot stuff, there's been a lot of hoaxes. A lot of people purposely trying to,
of course,
cash in on
recreate it.
Yeah.
Right. When did we hear, and this may be edited out, but like somebody told us a story about like getting a hair tested or like they found like a sample of a hair. They got it tested and it didn't come back like any other.
Inconclusive?
Yeah.
So for our listeners, just so you know, we've had people, after we get done doing interviews or talking to people or men on the street, we have people come tell us crazy Bigfoot stories and then say, please don't put that on there.
Yeah.
And so we've heard all kinds of crazy stuff. We just got to get a Bigfoot hunter on the show. That would be the ultimate get.
An
official one. Is there an official one? Is there a licensed Bigfoot hunter?
We're going to have to find out.
And hunter's a strong word. Can we just do Bigfoot searcher?
Yeah. Investigator. Researcher.
Researcher. There you go. Bigfoot researcher.
A Bigfoot scientist. Can we find somebody who would know the difference between like a Bigfoot and a bear or something like that?
I feel like anyone with human eyes. I don't know. What's the difference between, it's a good, okay. So here we go. We'll dive into the story here. So here we go. Our first one here, this comes from KPIC News. This was about a decade ago. This is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2013. This is by D.D. Gatton at KPIC News. And this one takes place in Douglas County, Oregon. Now, it was really weird. I went through a bookstore in Sutherland, and there's a lot of Bigfoot stuff there. And Sutherland has a history of a lot of Bigfoot sightings around the area of Sutherland, Oregon. Okay?
Okay.
So here we go. This one's called Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Wild Man of the Woods. Linda Newton Perry is a big Bigfoot believer. I believe I smelled it, and I believe I heard it, she said. She says she heard its distinct sounds at the Oregon Caves.
The Oregon Caves? Like
yes.
where the sea lions are?
So this is why, okay, just so you know, when I cherry pick these stories, I tried to pick the ones that either I find humorous, and I know it sounds terrible. Okay, here's the deal. This lady, here's the best part.
I'll let you keep going.
I'm glad you stopped me there because she heard the distinct sounds at the Oregon Caves. As if the Bigfoot had wandered in and got stuck.
But not sea lions.
She said it kind of sounds like a hoo-hoo.
So like an owl? Bigfoot owl?
That's
Bat Squatch.
That's the part that gets me. I never heard of a Bigfoot say hoo-hoo. So she also said they don't smell very good. Oftentimes it smells like a skunk,
before.
Right?
Yeah, we've heard that one.
She says it's very filthy smelling. But here's the deal. I think she ran into two different things. She didn't see anything. She heard something say hoo-hoo, and she smelled something terrible.
So at the sea lion caves, though, it smells terrible there anyway.
Already, right? I think it's an owl stuck in a cave.
Or a sea lion.
Perry didn't always believe. The interest began when she moved to the Pacific Northwest, or what's also called Bigfoot country. She has actually started a book in which she's wrote down nearly 70 sightings in Douglas County that she's collected.
After this?
After her, yes. Because she
So
didn't
after
believe.
one encounter,
So-
and then she was like, now I'm a believer. I'm going to go.
Would you classify
And
hearing a hoo-hoo in a cave and smelling something bad as an encounter, though? I challenge this notion a little bit.
No.
No. You know what? Hey, it gave her the gusto. She's got 70 stories. I'm going to try and find her published book. But right now, we're 10 years ago. That's the end of the article, by the way.
That's it.
She heard a hoo-hoo in a cave, smelled something bad, and now she started collecting stories. This one's a little bit better. Now, this one, I go the opposite route. Okay. So the first one, I got questions, but this one's good. Okay.
Okay.
This one, Bigfoot believer shares hairs. And she goes, I wouldn't give it up for anything. This was also by KPIC. This was in March 9th, 2013. This is from Betty Klopp. She's been holding on to strands of hair and bits of skin for 45 years. So it goes, of course I kept it, Klopp told KPIC News. I wouldn't give it up for anything. She believes the clumps came from a Bigfoot. Her Sasquatch keepsake comes from her parents. Klopp said her parents were driving along in the 1960s towing a small trailer when they swerved off the road to avoid hitting what they believed was a man. Klopp said her parents stopped at the Porter Creek store to assess what had happened. They got out of the car, searched the area, but found nothing. The next day, her parents discovered pieces of skin and hair snagged on the trailer. This is something you don't run into every day. Quite literally, Klopp said. She said the material was sent to the University of Montana for testing about 3 years ago. The results showed the DNA was too deteriorated and the hair too degraded to make any identification. Klopp still believes. She decided to share her story after hearing reports that someone in Texas had killed a Bigfoot. There are reports that someone has one and shot it and is storing it in their freezer. She goes, I would like to know if that's true or not.
Hey, it wasn't a deer.
But the thing is, running on 2 feet. They thought they hit a man, right? So once again, so
they
that's
thought they
you're
hit
right.
a man.
Now,
maybe they did hit a dude.
they could have hit a hairy dude, right?
Right.
Back then, of course, that was the hippie era, so that would work a little bit too.
So something on their 2 feet. They swerve, they hit.
The back of the trailer hits it, yeah.
Back of the trailer clips it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is my problem with when people do produce hair samples or skin samples.
Right.
It always comes back inconclusive.
Yeah.
They're like, it doesn't match anything in a database, or for this reason it was too degraded, right?
Like she has it in a bag, or it's like on her mantle. Like
it's next to the fine china. It's
you know what I mean.
Anytime someone comes over,
it's like in a display case, like hanging on the wall.
It's got to be right. I like that.
Like if people come over and she's just like waiting for them to ask about what's the piece of hair and like skin hanging.
Oh yeah, she waits for it the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, she's like
she's like watching them.
She's like, as soon as her eyes go to it, goes,
right.
Betty, is that a clop of hair and skin on your china set?
And where's your husband?
He didn't believe, so I got rid of it. Just a little side story on this. When she says that because they interviewed her, there's an interesting article in 2013 of a guy in Texas catching a Bigfoot. That turned out to be a big hoax. I looked that up. The guy's name was Rick Dreyer. He was a used car salesman. And
we're all shocked.
We're all shocked, right? The guy ended up having, the funny part is he did 2 hoaxes. This is how bad people want to believe in Bigfoot. 2008, he made a hoax. In 2012 or 2013, he made a hoax too. One of them, him and his buddy literally bought a gorilla suit and put it in a giant block of ice and tried to pass it off as a Bigfoot. And then the other one was, the story was that he had shot a Bigfoot while hunting because he took barbecue ribs from Walmart and stuck them to a tree. And that's how he distracted the Bigfoot and was able to shoot it. And then lost the body somewhere. So his stories were never good.
Who has a Bigfoot in their freezer?
How big of a freezer do you have to have a Bigfoot? That's my other question. That's a big freezer. Like that's Costco level freezer work. Questions, right? So basically, but the fact that this guy got away with 2 of them. Anyways, so those are my 2, right? So now let's go to the official OregonBigfoot.com.
Yes.
Okay. This is where people actually log real encounters that they've had and then are followed up by Bigfoot researchers.
Oh, they follow up with it?
Yes, they follow up with it. Now, this is an interesting one, and this is where...
What's this website called?
OregonBigfoot.com. And the reason I picked these 3 here, this was like a series of... this is all happened in 2015.
So pretty recent.
Yeah, pretty recent. And what's funny is they're all in Douglas County, and they're kind of all over the map a little bit.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, this is file number 20418. This was in the nearest town was Clearwater. This was April 29th, 2015. The conditions were sunny and cool. The time was early afternoon. So the location was North Umpqua Highway to Watson Falls. So description of events. They went up to scout for turkey, got out of the truck, and almost instantly heard this whoop whoop sound. Joked around with their hunting companion that it sounded like they saw. They say, is that what Bigfoot says? So they started recording it with their phone. They returned the whoop whoop and was repeated back to them. So I now questions the first lady's article about the who. Now we have a whoop whoop. But they recorded their phone, played it back, and then the Bigfoot goes, hey, that's me.
So whoop, there it is.
Whoop, there it is. There you go.
Got.
That's what you got to play for a Bigfoot. You just play whoop, there it is, when it comes out.
Oh, man.
They left the area to scout for a couple of minutes. The Stellar Jay seemed agitated. Now, I'm going to pause right there. The next part of the sentence is what killed me. This is the official Bigfoot report, okay?
Okay.
The Stellar Jay seemed agitated, but then again, I'm not from Oregon and don't know their normal behavior. And I appreciate that honesty.
Man.
You know, I like the person that was writing this is like, you know what? I shouldn't make this comment about Stellar Jays.
Right.
They could always be agitated. I'm just not from here, so I need to call them out. The next morning, I went in blind because I didn't know the area, and I kept seeing all of these rocks stacked on top of stumps that were from trees that were cut during a timber harvest. Just an uneasy feeling about the area, but hunted it anyway. Saw a pile of fur and bones from a deer or small elk. Never did find the head, but I don't look around too long. And that is it on that one.
Interesting.
Okay? So that's the first one.
1,465 reports in their database of Bigfoot sightings.
Isn't that wild, right? That's the amount there. And there's another website. I think it's called I'm trying to find it here. It's a Bigfoot Researcher's Field Guide. It's here.
They got some good stories here. It's amazing. It goes all the way back to like 1948.
Yes, because a lot of people have their grandparents tell them stories and that kind of stuff. I love it.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So the other one, OregonBigfoot.com is really good. And then you want to go to, if you encounter a Bigfoot or have a Bigfoot story and want it logged, the other one is the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. And they have contact information. They have a really good website. I would love to get someone on from there, but they have all the states. And that one's got really good articles too. All right. So the next one here, this is OregonBigfoot.com case file 22037. This was in June 2015. This was nearest town is Tiller. The nearest row is Buckeye. The conditions were hot. Once again, this time is early afternoon. I like that Bigfoot comes out all time of day.
Right.
Early afternoon. He's like, you know what? I slept pretty good last night.
All right. It's a good jerky. So
description of the event. They were walking along the trail, the guy and his girlfriend. He picked up a big stick and hit a tree 3 times and was just playing around. He told his girlfriend it was a Bigfoot call. Then about 200 feet away up the hill behind them, they heard loud grunts. He says, I hit the tree 3 more times, and again, 3 loud grunts were returned. We turned around and got out of there.
The hitting of the trees is one that's a reoccurring.
That
we hear a lot about the Bigfoot. I wonder if that's like a mating thing with Bigfoot. That's like a mating call, you think? Like hitting the trees? Or you think it's more just communication?
Mating call. So here's the funny part. I would take it as if I was trying to communicate and someone started hitting a tree, I would find it a little threatening. You know, because
maybe
the loud,
that's
the
true.
violent.
Yeah.
Mating call is a very aggressive mating call.
Well, it's Bigfoot.
But I love that they hit it 3 times. Also, they got 3 grunts back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe the Bigfoot's like really loud. It's like, hey, don't hit my trees, okay?
All right. You know, it's interesting for like the visual, like when you picture Bigfoot, you picture like a giant creature, but it's really reclusive and it's, you know, it tries to hide if it's out there. For something so like gigantic and like ferocious, you would think you would hear more about like it attacking like dogs and cats and deer and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem very violent. It seems very like whatever the word, like docile.
Yes.
So like if you went up to it, like say you happen to be walking in the woods and now Bigfoot's on the same trail or whatever, like do you think it would attack you or like run away?
That's the funny part too. I think it's more likely to run away unless it's just same thing like in nature though. Sometimes like you're going to scare away an animal, but if the animal's got babies or an animal's trying to protect its area, then it's going to try and defend itself.
Right. That's true.
I do think the Bigfoot is very docile and doesn't want to mix with humans. It's seen what we've done. It does not want anything to do with us.
Yeah, man, the thought that there actually might be a Bigfoot out there, it's even hard to wrap my head around.
It's very fascinating. It really
It's
is,
crazy.
right? I think it's like
It's
I said,
just wild.
I think it's there. It's an endangered species. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at with it. I don't think there's very many left.
And it's been such a debated topic for so long.
Mhm.
You
Oh, yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah, it's fascinating. Okay, next file, OregonBigfoot.com, file number 22003. Man hears loud screaming twice in one day. September 6, 2015. So now we're coming towards the end of summer, beginning to start fall. This is in Elkton at Mill Creek Road. Conditions were foggy but dry. It's early morning. The dog wanted out about 1:30 a.m. and repeated screaming was heard from a long distance away. The same morning, I went out to hunt elk and heard the screaming from a long distance. So I wish he would have described the screaming he heard.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
But you can tell this is a guy just reporting something and moving on. Like this is literally a two sentence story. But
Right.
we got screaming. 1:30 a.m. Now the funny part with the dogs is he talked about his dog wanting out, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And you're talking about the Bigfoots attack things. I've heard of Bigfoots of attacking dogs, but I think it's only when a dog has attacked a Bigfoot. Like as the dog
Right,
trying
it's
to
protective.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last case file I want to read you. The one I love is the description of this because I'm so happy you said what you said about Bigfoot being out there and being a big creature. Because if I was Bigfoot, I would be an awkward Bigfoot. I'd be the one that you would see falling or tripping. So here we go.
Clumsy Bigfoot.
Clumsy Bigfoot. Here we go. This brings it up. OregonBigfoot.com, file number 5190. This happened in 2008. The nearest town was Reedsport. The nearest road was Sniff River Road. The conditions were clear but cold. And the time was, again, early afternoon. Now, when she said the specific location, this person said, I would rather not. I don't want him bothered. So I appreciate that, right?
Right.
But let me read you the description of the event, because to me, this one's been my favorite. I used to go there often for peace and quiet to sit and read in my car. I usually smelled him, and sometimes my dog was too afraid to get out of the car. One day, I heard a loud cracking, turned to look, and saw him falling out of the tree. It wasn't very high up, but it certainly broke the branch. I could not see the area he landed in because it was hidden by brush. So that's my favorite part, is you have a Bigfoot falling out of a tree. Like the whole.
And they didn't do anything with it?
Well, she stayed in her car, and then the Bigfoot run. Obviously, I hope he's okay. He probably is embarrassed more than anything. Like he spent, a couple hundred years on how to be stealthy in the forest, and he just misjudged a branch and fell. That poor Bigfoot. That one's embarrassed. I feel
Right.
bad for him. Like
Right.
that's an embarrassed landing.
Probably more clumsy than we realize.
He's very clumsy.
We read the 1959 one.
Go for it.
This is south of 10 Mile. Sorry, this one just interests. I don't know, the older ones to me. I feel like the older
lot of
ones to
good
me,
detail.
a little more, I don't know. I don't know.
More credit.
I don't know, but that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
There's
so-
no variety. Yeah.
Yeah, 1959, 10 Mile, south of 10 Mile, black Bigfoot came uphill after two boys chased him along the ridge. They said that it was at least 12 feet tall, ape-like face, very heavy, bow-legged.
Oh wow.
Seemed to be herding them away rather than trying to catch them. His arms were outspread, very long hair on forearms. The older boy shot it 7 times with a .30-06. It slumped twice until its knuckles hit the ground but kept coming, and it didn't seem to lose its temper, which is interesting because we were just talking about this temperance. It ended up screaming like a cat but louder.
Wow.
The younger boy also shot it with a smaller gun. Then they ran and didn't see when it stopped following them. They later found the tracks were strange. Had 5 toes,
Okay.
8 feet wide across,
Okay.
11 and a half feet long, 4.5. They measured this thing, 4.25 across heel. It sank about a foot. They found a bed 12 inches in diameter in a meadow. What a strong smell uphill. Some prints sank about 14 inches in the wet ground. The boy who did the shooting was considered an expert hunter.
Wow. Wow.
Man, that's some good detail.
That's
That's
really
from
good.
1959. Yeah. The Sasquatch file, John Green, page 19.
What I like about that one is it kind of contradicts, because all the science is saying, everyone just misidentifying a black bear. But here's the deal. Black bear's not going to have an ape-like face.
Right.
You know what I mean? Bears have a very pronounced snout, and ears and stuff.
screaming like a cat but louder. And interesting, they supposedly shot it with a .30-06, so like a shotgun, and it didn't lose its temper. It was just like trying to get them run away from whatever it was, its territory, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's into what we were just talking about. Like, I think it was just had its home and like, I don't want you around my space.
Exactly, right?
But of course, what are you going to do when this giant thing's after you or presumed chasing after you? I don't know. It's interesting.
That's really interesting. I want to know if there's anyone still alive from that sighting. That'd be a good interview too.
Right.
But yeah.
The well of Bigfoot, man. I mean, we could probably do one every 3 months on Bigfoot and just have never-ending stories.
The Bigfoot series?
The Bigfoot series, right. I was doing a little more research on, because Bigfoot's not the only creature in the United States. You know, there's so many other folklores and a lot of other creatures spread out over the world too in the United States. So I was just reading on some other creatures and I came across these ones that were kind of interesting. The first one is called, it's a Wendigo?
Wendigo?
It's one of the most popular creatures. Supposedly it's a large furry beast. It originated from the Algonquin folklore. It's in the northern parts of the US and Canada. It's a mythical creature or an evil spirit from the plains and Great Lakes natives. It's said to invoke feelings of greed and hunger, the desire to cannibalize other humans, and the propensity to commit murder to those that fall under its influence.
What?
It's described as a giant humanoid with a heart of ice, a foul stench. Unseasonably chill might precede its approach. So you feel like really cold, I guess, when you get near it.
Okay.
It's possibly because of a long time identification by European Americans with their own myths about werewolves. An example, there's a mention in the Jesuit Relations. It's a hybrid featuring antlers or horns with the Wendigo name, but such animal features did not appear in the original indigenous stories.
Huh.
Interesting. Goes on to say, in modern stories, the Wendigo lend its name to a form of psychosis known as the Wendigo psychosis, which is characterized by symptoms of an intense craving for human flesh. Weird.
Wild.
That one sounds kind of creepy. The next one I found, it's called the Lugaroo, and I've heard this actually called the Rougarou, the Lugaroo.
Okay, yeah.
It actually haunts the West Indies in Haiti and Grenada and Dominican Republic. It's another French werewolf. It's sometimes described as a witch or a vampire, but often it's a shapeshifter that holds all the attributes of other monsters. It sucks the blood from innocent victims, which is given to the devil in exchange for magical powers. The Lugaroo is closely related to I don't know how to pronounce that, of a creature of Trinidad and Guadalupe. If the Lugaroo sucks out too much blood, the victim will die and become a Lugaroo himself.
Oh, wild.
And I've actually seen videos of that, the Rougarou, in New Orleans. Okay. There was these police officers. They got a call of people believe Rougarous down there. They were chasing this creature or something, and they ended up in a field, and it was very, very tall grass or wheatgrass or something, and they chased something into a field, and it was a large circular area, and like in the middle of that large circular area, you can tell there was like some sort of creature or something that was there. And I don't know, something disappeared, right? The next day they go out and they find all these cows that literally look like something sucked the life out of them.
Oh, that's wild.
No explanation. I don't know. Something weird.
What's been the most, to you, the craziest video you ever saw of something that was like a Bigfoot or any type of creature or anything? What's the wildest video you ever saw? You're like, dang, I can't explain that.
The mermaid one. Have you ever seen this video?
Which one?
It's in Israel. It's maybe like 12, 15 years ago. Well, I don't explain it well, but you have to look it up. These guys are on a ledge or looking over the ocean. Yeah. And there's a creature sitting on a rock kind of close to the edge of the beach. Okay. And they're zooming in, and when they get closer to whatever this creature is, you can see it has a fin, has a tail, and it almost looks like a lobster. Okay. But the creepiest part, it looks back at them, and that is no dolphin. That is no creature. I have no idea what it is. It looks at them, and then it swims off, and the way it like walks and crawls off, it's wild. Yeah. If you look it up, the mermaid video, oh my gosh. I don't know how you edit that. I don't know how you make that up. I don't know. I don't know.
That's pretty good. That's
probably one of the creepiest things I think I've ever seen.
the one for me. I've seen some really weird videos.
Yeah.
The one that gets me, that I don't know why it sticks with me the most, was on an episode of Ghost Hunters International, and they were doing ancient castles in Ireland.
Oh gosh.
And they were out there, and the thing was that they used an infrared camera, and the guy goes, "There's something walking over there." And they look, and the infrared's catching, and they weren't trying to investigate this area. They just were just testing out the infrared camera. And you see what is clearly a cat walking in the forest, right? And as it's walking, it goes behind a tree, because you can see the heat signature of a cat. It's unmistakable. All of a sudden, as the cat's coming around the tree, it breaks down into what looks like 3 little glowing creatures, like little fairies almost, and they float off. And part of me is like, I didn't like it because they caught it accidentally. And it was infrared. So those things were getting off heat signatures, right? And just one few ones I can't explain. I'm sure it was done with special effects, but it was, of all the videos I've ever seen, that was the one that bothered me the most.
Right. Just like that mermaid one bothers me so much.
That's so wild.
And the one, have you ever seen the one where I think it's in Russia, and the guy's out walking his dog, and he turns the corner.
The floating kid, right?
Yes. What in the world? Now, that could be, again, the internet could be tricking me.
Yeah.
But still, the reaction and the camera work, that's a weird one, man. The mom floating the kid up in the air, like not expecting anyone to find them out in the middle of the woods, like practicing some witchcraft or like X-Men children. Because I don't even know.
She hears him. She hears his like stuff.
Right.
And the kid comes down and run off.
Right.
That one is really, you're right. Because if it's faked, why go to that level of special effects?
No idea.
That thing's better than some movies I've seen in Hollywood, right? But you're right. That one's really,
that was weird.
That one.
Yeah.
Your mermaid one's pretty good too, though.
That creeps me out. That creeps me out. Like, I don't want to watch it, but I do, because it's the way this little turns her head and then she runs off like a lobster in her tail and then just disappears into the ocean.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And the embankment, it's not like you can really walk down there like on a large cliff. I don't know. I'm done thinking about that one.
There we go. But anyways, good segue. I love hearing the proof that scares us the most.
Crazy, man. I know. This one dates back to Paul Bunyan stories.
Okay.
It's called the Hodag.
Hodag.
It's an American folklore.
Okay.
It's a fearsome critter. It resembles a large bullhorn carnivore with a row of thick curved spines down its back. It was said to be born from the ashes of a cremated ox.
Okay.
As the incarnation of the accumulation of abuse the animals had suffered at the hands of their masters. The history of the Hodag is strongly tied to the city of Rhinelander, where it was claimed to have been discovered. It's a predominant in early Paul Bunyan stories.
Wild. Okay.
I've never heard that.
Me neither.
The next one is called a Goro. A Gauro. It was reported in Arkansas in 1987. It lives in the lakes and caves of Arkansas, and it's got its name from a horrible sound it makes. It's described as 20-foot long reptile with enormous tusks that ate livestock. One enterprising Arkansanian claimed to have captured the Gauro, and would let the public to see it for a small price of admittance.
Of course.
But, of course,
oh boy.
Just as it's about to reveal the Gauro, the announcer announced that the creature had escaped.
Oh no.
The audience was so busy running in pure terror. It had no chance. No one could ask for their money back because they were all just freaked out that some giant creature was. Now, if that's not the heck of a scam, I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah. I love it.
The last one's called, it's the Loveland Frog. It's from Loveland, Ohio. Multiple sightings are recorded of an unusual reptile, which was become known as the Loveland Frog. The most famous was by Ray Shockey in 1972. He was a police officer. He saw an animal lying beside the road, and when he approached it, it got up on 2 legs and ran away.
What?
It described it as 3 to 4 feet tall, about 60 pounds. It had a face like a frog or a lizard. Another officer, Mark Matthews, had a similar encounter a couple weeks later. The story grew as it was retold, and the original officers said they never thought the creature was a monster, but possibly an escaped pet.
So, okay, it's a 3 foot tall frog. What I'm trying to think with that one is trying to misidentify it.
Right.
What else?
3 to 4 feet tall, had wrinkles on their head instead of hair, webbed hands and feet. And the most bizarre thing about the earlier sighting is that one of the creatures waved a wand that emitted sparks. Okay, now wait a minute here.
Okay, hold on. This is Hans Mole Man from the 60s.
Okay, wait a minute here.
This is a special.
Waved a wand that emitted sparks?
That's where you lose.
Okay, now we're talking a little malarkey here.
But here's the deal with that one though. There's multiple
people.
sightings.
Multiple.
Okay. And people are seeing the same thing. Now I want to
Yeah.
I love the wand with sparks.
Right. A businessman reported that he saw 3 creatures besides the road, and they were 3 to 4 feet tall. Yeah, the wrinkles and webbed feet and stuff. And one of them had a wand like Harry Potter.
That's both.
Man.
I love that one for that very reason, because it's the first time of all these things I've ever
Loveland,
heard
Ohio.
that someone's got a magic wand.
One of them's a magician.
It sounds like a sparkler. It sounds like somebody,
some ugly little kids with a sparkler,
got away from their handler, got a sparkler, and yeah.
Right. It's 4th of July.
4th of July.
All right.
That's amazing. I'm happy with that.
Oh man.
All right. What's next for us on this?
Oh my gosh. Well, Oregon's got a lot of history, a lot of random facts, a lot of trivia.
Yes.
Did you know the origin of the name Oregon is actually uncertain? According to one account, the name is actually believed to have been derived from the French word ouragan, which is loosely translated as hurricane or windstorm.
Oh, weird.
This name is reference to the powerful winds originating from Columbia River, hence the name Oregon.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of, a lot of the
that makes sense. The boats still have that issue up there, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the settlers and coming that way.
Cool.
The state has 11 lighthouses. Do you know which one's the tallest?
No.
Yakina.
Oh.
We were just there. It's 93 feet. It's the tallest lighthouse. It's also one of the most popular on the coast. It's been there since 1873.
That's cool.
That's cool. Did you know Oregon? I found this interesting. Do you know what Oregon's official beverage is?
No.
Any guesses?
A beverage?
Yes. This is such a weird one.
I want to say it's a microbrew. I don't
know.
No.
It may take you by. It's milk. Oregon's official beverage. State beverage is milk.
Does New Jersey know this?
In 1997, the legislation unanimously agreed that milk and other dairy products should be accorded such status on the basis of their contribution to the state's economic well-being. Therefore, milk is a symbol of economic prosperity in Oregon.
Okay.
Interesting,
Hey,
right?
I know,
Vitamin D.
I know the state nut's the hazelnut.
Yeah.
They call it filbert. Do you know hazelnut, their name for hazelnut's a filbert?
No, I didn't know that.
And that's why people tell me, like, oh, you got to get some filberts. I'm like...
It sounds like a very, like a rich guy.
Yeah, and it's a
Filbert.
But hazelnut, yeah.
Right. Forest Grove, at the heart of Oregon, is credited for the home of the world's tallest and most notable barbershop pole. It standing at 72 feet tall.
72 feet tall? What kind of a jerk would be if you got one that was like 73 feet tall?
Right next to it.
Know what the best one is? Like, I can get my name on this.
Man. Right. I have to look up a little more on the history of the barber pole there.
That's funny.
Mount Hood in Oregon is the second most explored mountain in the world. You know what the first one is?
Kilimanjaro?
Mount Fuji in Japan.
Oh, Fuji. Okay.
Mount Hood has an elevation of 11,249 feet. It's the highest mountain in Oregon. It's also potentially an active stratovolcano. The last minor eruption happened in 1907.
Crazy.
Do you know Oregon state song? It's not very creative, but...
Is it like Ode to Oregon?
it's Oregon, My Oregon.
Oregon, My Oregon.
Composed by J.E. Buchanan and Henry B. Murtaugh.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
So, 15 years ago, 20 years, I don't know, maybe less than that, there was a debate on if Springfield from The Simpsons was originated in Springfield, Oregon, or Springfield, Massachusetts.
There's one in Illinois. There's like a lot of
Springfield. Yeah, and I think it ended up being not in Oregon. I think it might be right, Illinois.
Well, Matt Groening did time in Eugene and in Portland.
Right. So he does say, though, so the creator, Matt Groening, says the character on The Simpsons is named after Burnside Street and Montgomery Street in Portland, it's Mr. Burns. So he named Mr. Burns after Burnside Street and Montgomery Street, Montgomery Burns.
I'll be darned.
So come on.
That's cool. It's Oregon.
I mean, it's Oregon, right? Yeah. And then do you know the official fruit of Oregon?
Fruit is the I want to say Marionberry or Huckleberry or
It's the pear.
It's the
pear is the official state fruit. It's likely because they are the top selling tree fruits crop in the state. It's grown particularly well in the Rogue River Valley, along with the Columbia River near Mount Hood.
I never would have guessed pear. That would be like
I
so
never would
last
either.
time I played,
I do have 2 pear trees in my backyard.
You have a pair of pear trees.
I have a pear. Hey,
That's pretty good.
That's all I got.
Awesome. All right. Let's go to, sir. I think it's time for our personal favorite, 2 questions.
Okay.
You start, we'll do one at a time here, right?
Okay.
Because you came up with some really good ones.
Oh.
Let's see here. We want, So
fly.
I'll ask you first. What's your, I'm actually, it's going to be 2.5 because I'm going to do, what's your favorite thing to put on a hot dog? What's your favorite thing to put on a hamburger?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite thing to put on a hot dog?
Hot dog, I like relish and mustard.
Okay. Classic.
Yeah.
Very
That's what I
easy.
like on the hot dogs.
You know what's so funny? I'm complete opposite.
Really?
I don't care for relish or mustard.
Really?
I am ketchup.
Really? Yeah.
And this is going to throw you for it. And the other one's nacho cheese.
Okay. I respect that.
And I had that.
I respect that. I like anything. I love nacho cheese.
See,
yeah.
nacho cheese.
I put that on anything.
Most anything. Right? Most anything.
I respect you got a cheese dog. Nothing wrong with that.
Right? Nothing
yeah.
wrong with that,
That's
right?
good.
Because then it's one step away from macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing to put on a hamburger?
Hamburger, I like a little mayo. And then, of course, your classic toppings. I like tomato, red onion, lettuce, and then a little ketchup.
Okay. Once again, very classic, very easy to do.
A little bacon.
I'm more
avocado.
Yeah, see, those are good too. I'm more the Western. I like the barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Jack cheese.
Really?
Maybe an onion ring on there.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
There you
bacon
go.
cheese. Yeah. So, I like the more of the Western theme.
Yeah.
Sadly, less vegetables in mine. But,
I have. Okay. I put a little potato salad on time on a burger.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Changed the world, didn't
A
it?
little bit of
It's so
potato
nice,
salad
yes.
on it. Because you got a little, you have like it substitutes mayo, and then you put a little bit, like the potato has like a little like crunch on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Delicious.
There was a great time before COVID.
Yeah.
When the world allowed Burger King to have a Angus One burger.
Oh, yeah.
And it was called their steakhouse burger. And they put a little garlic mashed potatoes on it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it was so good. And it only lasted, I feel like 3 weeks. And every time I try to talk about it, everyone thinks I'm a crazy person. It's like me trying to say I saw Bigfoot. It never happened.
Right.
There was no such burger. That Burger King had a burger where they put a little bit of garlic mashed potatoes on them with A1 sauce, that kind of stuff. And it was the best burger I ever had.
It's good.
And one of the best burgers.
It's sneaky to put a little potatoes on the
Right?
burger. Yeah.
And that was really good. All right. Next question. Do you enjoy sunset or sunrise?
I like that we went with this question.
Yes.
I like the sunsets.
Okay.
You know, I like the day coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see the different colors, the changing of the landscapes. I live my view. I can get a good view of like the Callahan Mountains, so I have a nice the view of the sunset each night.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm ever really up early enough to catch that good sunset, so I feel like I see more sunrises more often than none. So
Yeah.
that was my answer.
That's good. No, that's a good answer. You're right. Sadly, I got Chihuahuas who need to use the restroom at the crack of dawn every day, 6 a.m. So I see a lot of beautiful sunrises, but you're right. I'm more of a sunset guy because to me, it's the winding down of the day.
Yeah.
It's the feeling you have. You know, you can
Right.
kick back
Relax
a nice,
a little bit.
You know, nice drink. You know, you're just going to be settling down and maybe
Right.
relaxing. So,
Right.
yeah, I prefer sunsets.
Right. You can go to Two Shy, sit on the patio, have a drink, watch the sunset.
Yeah. And I think a sunset is more beautiful on the coast too. Than a
Oh my
sunrise.
gosh, right over the ocean.
Yeah. That's
Especially
so
this
good.
time of year. Yes.
Very true. Once again, the calendar you got me is a lovely Christmas present for dad jokes, pays and dividends. We're going to cover a couple here. These are the best, by the way. These are big edits.
They made the cut, huh?
They made the cut. What do you call a happy cowboy?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. A Jolly Rancher?
Very good. Very good. A Jolly Rancher. Nailed it. This one made me, I had to think twice about this. What's the best way to catch a fish? The best way to catch a fish.
Oh gosh. I don't know.
You have someone throw it to you.
Stupid.
That's what I said too. Let's see here. Next one is, what kind of people never get angry?
Mimes.
Nomads. Nomads. People didn't realize the benefits of sun-dried grapes, but I'm raising awareness.
Oh, no.
Yep.
That Nomads one. That, oh, my gosh.
Nomads. They never get
That
angry.
is good.
Try not to spell part backwards. It's a trap. How do planets entertain themselves? How do planets entertain themselves?
I don't know.
They read comic books.
Comic butts.
Comic books. What do you call a boat with a hole in the bottom?
Sinking ship.
A sink. Yeah. It's
Oh,
a
a
sink.
sink.
To the person who stole my glasses, I promise I will find you. I have contacts. And then the last one is, my wife told me I would never advance my career because I procrastinate so much. Just you wait, I said.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. My gosh. That was, those are really good.
Those are the best of the, yeah.
That calendar is coming handy.
Oh, man.
My gosh, those were good.
All right.
That's the end of our show.
That's the end of the, yes,
I'd like to thank the
another
audience
episode
for
down. Yes.
laughing.
Yes, great audience.
Great
Yes.
audience today.
The library, very lively.
Yes, a lot of books. Folks, I hope you enjoyed our Saving Grace interview last time.
so
Megan was phenomenal, taking time out of her busy schedule to sit down and chat with us about Saving Grace, the animals. If you haven't listened to that one, please do, because it's just good information.
Yeah.
Check any of your episodes out that you haven't listened to. If this is your first time listening to us,
Welcome.
thank you and welcome to the Oregon Files podcast. This is like episode 36. We just appreciate everyone listening and building our little database of episodes. It's been a lot of fun. And we have more interviews coming up, stuff lined up, things to talk about, people to talk about, stories to uncover. And we just really appreciate all the support. And if you want to get a hold of the show, it's Oregon Files Podcast at yahoo.com.
That's right.
Check us out anywhere where you get your podcast. Instagram is pretty quick. You can just go to our Instagram page, Oregon Files Podcast. There's a little link there in the bio. It will just take you to all the places, the apps, the directories to listen to the episode. Mark puts it on YouTube. If you rather do it that way, it's pretty simple. You can just look at Oregon Files Podcast on YouTube, subscribe, and you get notifications on when new episodes are out. And I feel like we're pretty vast in how you can find our podcast. So, and anyway, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.